Haha! Perfect for what I need. Come to this great, fantastic park. It's during the week as well. It's on a Monday during the day. It's probably about 11 o'clock, so no one around. Not going to annoy anyone. Got me FG Marder with me. Got a little bit of an unexpected day off of work, so I thought, let's make the most of it, shall we? And see if we can enjoy ourselves on a lovely January day. I'm just undoing my little lunchbox because I thought I was meant to be going to work today. I've had an unexpected day off of work. I get these on the sale. They're only £1 each. They're normally like £2.65 or something. These Philly cheese bakes and the sausage roll. I ain't paying that for them. But when they're on the Nectar points in Sainsbury's, they're £1 each, and I think that's reasonable, £1 each. You know, I'd spend more on making a sandwich than £1. If I was to buy some bread, some ingredients, and that, I'd be more than £1. So per sandwich, wouldn't it? So when you think about it, so got it in me Nova engines. This is meant to be an engine bag, but to be honest, I think they've just taken a lunch bag, printed Nova engines on the front of it, and called it an engine bag, because it's another little nitro engines. You're supposed to better keep a couple of nitro engines in there if you're a racer. But man, it's great for a lunchbox, so I've been using it all through the summer as a bloody lunchbox. It works absolutely fantastic. In the summer, I had my sandwiches in there. I had an ice pack, I had sandwiches and a drink and a couple of little Kit Kats and things. And even in the summer, when it was 20-25 degrees, you know, I'm in the cab of bulldozer. I got the aircon on, all right, yeah, fair enough. But when I opened up this, it was bloody freezing in there. The ice pack was still frozen solid. The sandwiches were nice and chilly. Oh man, it was great. So this is what I use in my little lunchbox. So I thought, I'm not going to work. I'm going to eat my lunch anyway. Let's take that car that I just showed you. That's an FG Marder, that is. Thought, let's take that and go and see what's going on. Go and give it a bit of a blast, you know. Give that a bit of a blast. And like I say, the missus is happy when I'm not in, because she's trying to catch up on her programmes, on her little things. She says, just go out, because I'm always doing stuff, you know. I can't sit still. If I've got a day off of work, I've got to do stuff. I don't want to waste my time. Do you know what I mean? So, happy days. Right, I'm going to have some lunch. I'll see you in a bit. Just looking at all these houses. These houses here are probably, I don't know exactly, but just, I got an idea of when like this area was built. And I'd say these houses are probably 60, 70 years old. That one's still got all the pebble dashing on the side of it. I just think they're bloody brilliant, man. The way their front gardens are. I mean, that one there is fantastic. Look at that one. That's lovely. Gorgeous house. But it's quite nice being able to live right in front of a park, you know. Not really a main road or anything. That must be so cool living here. And those houses, they really are nice. They really are. They don't make them like they used to, I'll tell you that much. I love to just sit sometimes and just look around and take in the surroundings, you know, take in where you are, what things are, what they, you know, especially houses, you know. These I've said it before and I'll say it time and time again. I think the 80s was a bad time for houses. I've got a feeling there was something going on from talking to people that I know about, that were alive then and they know about houses. Something to do with the materials were bad or something like that. Cement or something, Russian cement, some bollocks, I don't know, but the design, you know, and the way that these houses were back then. I mean, these ones would have been, I think most of these would have been built in the 50s. And they knew how to design a house back then. I mean, you've just seen them. These days, the modern houses, they're all right, there's a bit of brick around the edges sometimes. But mainly, it's all wood. And just thrown up really, really quick, you know. Even in the winter. Could be pissing down with rain all the time, you know. Everything's frozen. And they're still putting these houses up. Don't make no sense. Pretty sure back in the 50s, they'd put the foundations, go away for a month, and then come back and continue. Could be wrong, but from talking to builders that I know that were building houses in the 50s, that's what they've said. That's mad. Anyway, put in the comments 2 things. Put in the comments, where in the world are you? What kind of houses do you have? Because I know in America, and I think Australia, you have like all these wooden houses, didn't you? You don't have brick built houses. Here in England, they're brick built, well, for the most part. Where are you? What are the houses like? And do you just like to sit and do what I do? If you've got some spare time, like I have at the moment, just sit. Go somewhere, sit and look at the surroundings. Just take everything in and appreciate everything for what it is. I don't think many people do that these days. They don't sit and take in surroundings and just appreciate life and appreciate things and everything, you know. Oh, I just think it's bloody brilliant. Hey, love it, man. And the day's great. Oh, it's just so good. Catching up on some errands. That's what some of you lot call them, isn't it? Errands or chores. Nah, I just call them things to do. Catching up on some things to do, using my time wisely. Posted a few letters. Posted something else I needed to post because I sold something. Happy days. Just gonna see what the rest I can see what I can find to do for the rest of the day now, I suppose. Might go and check on that little dehumidifier in the camper van. Should we go and do that? Let's go and do that. Just going to put some dielectric grease over the inside this plug. It'll help the plugs slide together better. I'm worried about this one breaking, so put a load of grease all over here, and it should slide together. And when you take them apart, because this plastic's a little bit brittle, so put it on the pins. It should make things a lot easier. And somebody are probably going to say about dust and all that other rubbish. I'm not worried about that. It can be cleaned off. And not only that, it will stop corrosion as well. So should be good all round, hopefully. We'll see. Much easier. Now then, what have we got here? So, this is the dehumidifier that we had in the conservatory to dry our clothes in the conservatory. I've nicked it, I've taken it out because I want to put it there. And I've got a bit of pipe so we can have a constant drain going down into the sink, and I won't have to keep coming in there and emptying it. This one will do the job, I know it will. There's no doubt about that, and it'll keep it slightly warmer in here as well. I'm going to set that going, and then I've got a little bit of a mystery to look at, because, well, yeah, it was fine. I put that new radiator in, didn't I? Bled it all, everything's fine. I've been driving around, I've been going to the shops, I've been going everywhere, no problem at all. Yesterday I went out and it overheated. I was doing 60, I started to overheat, pulled over into a lay-by. There was water in the rad was hot, the pipes had a bit of water in them, but I managed to get some water, and it took about 3 litres of water. But I couldn't see no leaks. There's no sign of the head gasket, but for that amount of water to go, it would be pretty bad. I don't think it'd run particularly well. But there was no leaks anywhere. Underneath, no dripping, no leaks. So I continued my journey. When I got to where I was going, more water had gone. But there was no leaks. No leaks, nothing. Nothing's wet around the engine, no pipes, no nothing. I've topped it up again till it was full. Went in, done what I had to do. About half an hour later, I come back, looked underneath, no drips, no puddles, no nothing. So I checked it and the water was still full up. I haven't checked it yet. I drove it home, everything seemed to be okay. The only thing was, it was running really, really, really cold. It should have got to 90 degrees operating temperature and stayed there, but it was about 70 degrees, I'd say, on the temperature gauge. It's about a quarter up. Yeah, 90 degrees is half. It was about a quarter, which I'm going to say is around about 70, 75 degrees, somewhere around there probably. Heaters were nice and hot, but it didn't get to operating temperature the whole half an hour journey home. So something's gone dicky somewhere. I reckon the thermostat might be partially stuck, but that doesn't equate to where the water's going. So I'm going to do a bit of an investigation now. Now, I will say, I'm going to start explaining things a lot more simpler, and I'm going to start explaining things just more fuller, if that's even a word, on this channel for these videos now. Because, listen, I've been a channel now doing this since 2007. A lot of you subscribed probably know your way around an engine, which is why I don't normally go to great depths to explain things, because you all know what I'm talking about and what I'm doing anyway. But there's a lot of people starting to subscribe and watch these videos about the Talbot who don't know what they're doing and they want to learn. They bought themselves an old Talbot and they want to learn things. So when it comes to the mechanics, I'm going to start explaining things a bit more, and I'm going to start talking a lot more about what I'm doing and what's going on, the reasons for things, possible scenarios, possible things, because it'll benefit them. And they only ask me anyway. They ask me questions. Can you explain this? Can you explain that? Whereas if I explain it in the video to start with, they won't have to ask that. They will already get their answers. So yeah, there we go. So if you wonder why I'm starting to explain things more, that's the reason. I want to help them people out. So if you're one of those people, put it in the comments. If you just bought yourself a Talbot or something like that, or whatever, maybe you've had a Talbot for a long time, I don't know. If you've got one, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Anyway, I'm going to set the dehumidifier going, settle that up, clean all this mess up that's happened in here, and then we'll go under the bonnet, check the water. If it's still full, it must have gone somewhere, unless there was a massive airlock and it's just dislodged itself on that particular day, and obviously that's equated for the water going down, and now it's full. Don't know. I reckon there's a leak somewhere. I just haven't seen it, but there's not a lot of places for it to leak on a simple engine like that. I'm concerned it might be a core plug. Americans call them core plugs, and we call them freeze plugs here, but I suppose there's all different names for them. That's a pain in the arse, because they can be metal. Well, they normally are metal, and they rust, and they're on the engine block. And if it's at the back of the engine, if it's at the front, not so bad. If it's at the back, it's a pain in the arse, because you won't be able to get to it. You've got to pry the old one out, clean it up, and hammer the new one in. Possibly an engine out job. Maybe, depends if I can get to it. I'm hoping it's not a core plug or a freeze plug. The water's gone somewhere. We'll have a look and we'll find out. So, there isn't anything that screams massive leak. But it's been raining and water goes in through there, down there, and drains out. Where's it drain out? Under there somewhere. But let's see what we got in here now. This was full up. Yeah, it's still full. There's still water in there. So where that went, unless there was a big airlock. Right, well, I drove home about half hour and the water's still in there. So if there was a leak, I would expect that water to be gone. So let's fire it up. We'll see if it gets up to temperature. The thing is, next door neighbour's got his windows open. So I might have to go for a drive. We'll see how it goes. If I can let it run on the driveway, I will do. And I just want to see if there's any leaks and see if it gets up, see if it runs all right, you know, see if it gets up to temp. It should do. But I would expect that to be gone. Unless the only other situation, well, there's three scenarios for those of you that might not know. There's 3 scenarios that it could be. Number 1, there's a leak, obviously. If there's a leak, the water would go. But for that amount of water to go, I would expect either a very fast drip, a spray, or just a gush. That's what you'd expect for that amount of water to go that quickly. But there doesn't appear to be any. The other scenario is the head gasket, or maybe a cracked block, cracked cylinder wall, a crack in the head, some crack or something internally which is letting the water go inside the engine and it'd be burnt off. But you'd normally see signs like you'd have a bit of steam coming out of the exhaust all the time, but you'd get steam in the winter anyway, so it's a tricky one to diagnose with the steam. You'd have milky oil, or you might have oil in the water if it's the other way around, if they're always getting into the water. At the moment, touch wood, there ain't none of them signs. What's the other scenario? Oh yeah, the other scenario, I forgot what it was. There could have been a massive airlock somewhere, but it got up to temperature all the time I've been driving it for the past 3 or 4 weeks. It's never overheated, it's got to temperature, the heaters have been hot. Normally if you've got an airlock, the heaters might blow cold or blow hot and then cold, or just cold. But it does depend where the airlock is. But for an airlock that can hold 3 litres of bloody water, because I filled it up with a 5 litre can and I had a little bit left in the bottom, so it's about 3 litres it took, and then another couple of litres after that. So something ain't right, but we're going to find out what it is. Or I suppose one of the other scenarios, which it could be either the gauge on the instrument cluster, the gauge which measures the temperature, that could be bollocks all of a sudden, or it could be the sensor on the radiator, or on the side of the block hatch, I think it is, that measures the temperature, that could be bollocks. So where it's reading, not for the water, but for the temperature, the reason why it doesn't seem to want to get up to temperature when you're driving, it seems to be running too cool. Now it could be that the thermostat is partially blocked or stuck open altogether, or it could just be that sensor's bollocks because it overheated, it could have cooked the sensor. It's possible, not as likely but possible. More than likely that the thermostat is open, stuck open. It's a brand new thermostat, but it could be stuck open. That would cause it to run cold. But we'll see. I've got it running. I'm going to go and see if we've got any leaks. Don't know about you, but I can't see any. There's a radiator fan sensor. I'd expect to see some leaks under there by now. So at the moment, that's reading just above 50 degrees. Now I'd expect the heaters to start to feel warm. Yeah, so the heaters are starting to feel warm now, which is, that's correct. That's how it should be. So we'll see. I don't know if I'm going to better let it tick over here long enough to actually get it up to 90, because well, the fumes might start going through his window. But we'll see. Well, we're getting warmer, look, we're getting warmer. The heating is now getting a lot hotter as well. Little bit of a tip, if you're trying to get your engine to warm up, you want to get it up to temperature, don't have the heating on, because having the heating on, having the blowers blowing heat out, is taking heat away from the engine, it's cooling it down. So if if you want to know the ins and outs of it, basically the water's going around the radiator, the engine and the heater core. So the heater core is basically a radiator. It dissipates heat. That's how you get heat coming through your vents. You've just got a fan sucking that heat through that heater core, which is a small radiator, and out the vent. Simple as that. So by using the heaters, putting the blowers on, you're sucking heat out of that water, which is then cooling your engine down as well. So if you want to get your engine hot quickly, don't have the heating on. Obviously turn it on to see if it's getting hot and if it's working properly, blah blah blah, and doing all that bollocks. But if you want your engine to get warm up, have the heating off. I see so many people have the heating on and going, oh, it's taking a long time to warm up. It will be, because you're sucking all the heat out of it with your heaters. So a little bit of a tip there. But if you're in a hot environment, or if you're in a situation where your engine's running a bit hotter than it should do, put the heaters on and it'll help cool it down. You might start to sweat, but your engine will stay cool, and that's more important. So there we go. I'll be back in a minute when it's up to temperature. I still ain't spotted no leaks. Bloody, I don't know. I reckon the only logical explanation I can think of at the moment is there was an airlock somewhere hidden in there, and it just didn't cause any trouble. And all of a sudden it dislodged and the air come out, the water went down, and it went down so low that it wasn't enough to cool the engine properly anymore. So it started to run hot. And now I've filled it up. Yeah, that's the only explanation I can think of as to where that water went at the moment. Some of you might have other ideas, but in my head it's very simple. It's either leaking out or it's leaking in. And I've not got any signs of it leaking out or leaking in at the moment. But I'm sure the more I run it, it will become obvious what has actually happened. So we'll have a look. So the thermostat that I've got on here is an 80, it's either an 87 or an 89 degrees. I think it might be 86 degrees. 86 degree thermostat. So we should see when it gets to that 86 degrees, which is obviously just below 90, we should see it, the temperature gauge should fall again, because that's when the thermostat's opened and the water started to flow around everywhere. So we'll have a look. At the moment, take note of where it is. It's just below 90 at the moment. Let's go and feel all the hoses. I felt all the hoses a minute ago, and the top and bottom and the rad top and bottom was all hot, but the header tank was stone cold. So we'll see. Let's open up this and see what this is like. There's no steam or anything coming out of there yet. That water's stone cold in there now, still. So it's not pumping around the return line yet. This top one is red hot. What's the bottom one like? The bottom one's red hot. The bottom of the rad is hot. The top of the rad is red hot. That's hot. So it's all hot, apart from the header tank. That's cold. Let's see what we've got come out of the bleeder. We should get water and not air come out of this bleeder. And it should be hot. Hot air coming out of that bleeder, hot water coming out of that bleeder. So at least we know it's gone round to there anyway. Why it's not gone the rest of the way yet. We'll have a look. Starting to get up to 90 now. So that thermostat should have opened by now. Unless it's permanently open, in which case it won't make a difference. But we'll see. Hopefully in a minute we'll see it. That temperature should fall noticeably down to about a quarter of the way. Oh bloody hell, the fan's come on. The fan just came on. You might not be able to hear that over the engine noise, but the fan just come on, which never comes on. Interesting. Very interesting. Well, I haven't worked out what happened with the water. It's still in there. I haven't sprung any leaks yet. And the interesting thing is the fan never ever automatically came on. I put a new fan switch in it and it's never come on by itself before. Maybe once I think it came on by itself, and then it never done it ever again. Now the fan's all of a sudden started to work by itself, and by the fan I mean the radiator fan. It's started to work by itself now. It's been coming on and off, keeping it at 90 degrees the whole time. Even without a thermostat sitting ticking over, it will get to temperature. When you drive it, if it goes cold and stays cold, you know the thermostat's stuck open. That's when I'll know if the thermostat is stuck open, when I drive it. It should stay at 90 when I'm driving, or just below 90 when I'm driving, and just stay there. But as I say, if it goes below that and it goes cold, the thermostat's stuck open. I'm going to have to take that out and have a look at the thermostat. But oh, there we go. Happy days. Don't know what that's all about. I'm just going to keep my eye on it. Keep calling antifreeze with me at all times now. And if I spring a leak, and I know what it is. But until then, I can't work it out. If you can't see the evidence, how can you fix it? The only worrying thing is I've got a squeak turn up now, and it sounds like a bearing. It sounds like a bearing's squeal, and I don't like that. But we'll see. Let it all develop. Right, there we go. This one is it's working. You can see it dribbling down now. So happy days. We'll leave this one as it is, and I think that'll be that completely sorted. We all love a mystery, and I'm sure you lot are going to have your opinions, your thoughts, your experiences, whatever. Put them all in the comments. What do you think happened to me water? I don't know. I can't find a leak. There's no sign, hopefully touch wood, of it leaking inside the engine. It may well be. I won't know until I drive it more, and then it'll become apparent. It'll develop and will become apparent. Maybe there was an airlock. I've got a squeal now. Didn't have a squeal before. It might be a result of it overheating. It might have spun a bearing, damaged a bearing, a big end bearing, any kind of bearing, crank bearing, could have done anything. There's definitely a squeal appeared. That's not good. But that's what happens when engines overheat. Bearings do foul after overheating. And so it is what it is. Anyway, I'm off. Have a nice day. And I'll see you lot on the next one. Thanks for watching. Treat people nicely. Treat people how you would like to be treated, and we should have a nice, happy life. And with any luck, if everyone treats people nicely, we should be all happy. Do you know what I mean? It's just no need for any bickering and arguing in life, is there? There just isn't. I'll see you later on. All the best. Take care. Don't forget to comment where you live and if you've got a Talbot. Not actually where you live, but where in the world or in the country are you? I'm interested. Love it. Love to hear from you. All of you. Cheerio.